Governors of the 6 South-South states, which form the braced economic bloc, are meeting here in the oil city of Port Harcourt with leaders of thought and the federal government delegation to discuss security, development and infrastructure in Nigeria's oil-producing region. Delegations from Bayelsa Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo and Delta states include traditional rulers and religious leaders.
The federal government recognized that there's merit in their complaint, accepted their 5 demands, 5 legitimate calls, including the call for reform of the police force, and made wholesome commitment to improving the welfare and condition of service of the members of the police force. Unfortunately, while this was ongoing, the protests took on sad and violent dimension in which public and private assets were vandalized. Additionally, livelihoods of many innocent, hard-working Nigerians were destroyed, and most painfully, lives, including those of law enforcement officers, were also lost.
But when I came on board, I found out that the section was centralized, too much centralized, so we needed to decentralize it to different state commands for the commissioners of police to take charge. And that was what we did. And we were having relative peace and calm, and the way they were operating was in tandem with the reform that we initiated.
We oversee the activities of the newly formed police tactical team so that they can ensure that human rights are respected. Finally, the same NIC directed all state governors to set up a victim support fund so that those who deserve compensation will be paid. They talk about toll gate massacre. This is the only massacre in the entire history of the world that has no bodies, has no blood. And I challenge anybody, and I keep saying it, if anybody, it's very simple. If those who claim that lives were lost, those lives, those children, they have fathers, they have mothers, they have relations. As we speak today, nobody has come up before any panel to say that my son, just hold on, you'll have your time. Just hold on. You see, because unless we can talk to ourselves the truth, if this country burns, we all burn. It will make no exception for anybody. You all must understand that. Of course, I challenge CNN, because CNN was spreading fake news to destabilize this country.
There is no iota of doubt that the NSAS protest started peacefully, but it was hijacked by pockets of interest. For so many reasons, the organizers of the protest did not have visible leadership that can be called upon for dialogue.
The meeting was earlier scheduled for last week but could not hold due to an emergency security meeting by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Just to confirm our determination to make this visit on behalf of Mr. President, and to, as he said, to also apologize once again to everyone gathered here today, our brothers and sisters from this region, that the cancellation of last week's visit was totally inadvertent.
Chairman of the South-South Governors Forum, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, says the region has been neglected for a long time and that it is time for a restructuring that will deal with issues of ownership of oil wells, water pollution, roads, infrastructure development and security.
For us in the South-South, the NSAS protest is a metaphor for almost all that is wrong with us. Our refusal to properly understand issues, understand one another, but above all to imbibe and entrench the virtues of justice, fairness, and equity. This simply explains why the nation is not at peace with itself, and why we must collectively admit the reality that Nigeria is not working as it should be. It is not working for all of us, and it is not making the kind of progress expected of a country with so much potentials.
Okowa is also seeking a reform of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), which has been weakened by corruption and politicization in recent times, with the federal government embarking on an audit of the agency.
It is time to restore our country back to a true federation with all the attributes and nuances of a federal state. It will be challenging, but not difficult. It just requires the political will, courage, vision, and leadership to move towards creating a balanced federation as enunciated by our founding fathers. What that means is that there should be a balance between the center and the federating states. Revenue sharing will be based on the principle of derivation, and the states will have the powers to create and manage their local governments.
Top officials in the federal government delegation promised that the authorities will support agitations for resource control in the region. Jemima Boloko, Arise News.